Men are starving for a spine they once had. Somewhere in the noise of life, the silent war began. Identity eroded, honor diluted, discipline traded for comfort. A soldier stands by oath, not emotion. A slave obeys impulse, not principle. Which one wakes inside you each morning? Every man battles an unseen empire, the throne of distraction, the temple of appetite, the crown of excuses. Strength is not outward volume, but inward command. Before legacy is built, the inner rebellion must be conquered. You cannot outmuscle a war you refuse to name. Brotherhood is not a sentiment. It is an order formed in mutual sharpening. Modern men were taught to conquer kingdoms but ignore their own borders. Honor was once protected by counsel, forged by action, defended by honest rebuke. Today, a man falls privately, praises weakness publicly, and mistakes softness for virtue. The soldier's mark is reliability. His yes carries weight. His absence carries responsibility, not damage. Brotherhood does not applaud collapse. It confronts it. A man without men becomes an echo, not a standard. Timeless masculine virtue includes reverence toward women without surrendering strength. Respect is not romance, it is posture. Protecting a woman's dignity requires more strength than serenading it. The ancient orders of warriors understood this well. Your brothers hold you accountable, so your future wife does not carry the burden of your reconstruction. The inner oath comes before the outward vow. Mental fortitude is not emotionless existence, it is emotional sovereignty. Courage begins when appetite is unseated and principle is crowned. Discipline is proof that you honor your own word. Men often chase admiration, but the deeper mandate is to deserve it. Brotherhood restores identity by removing masks, speak true, act true, stand accountable, stay governed by principle. A man's legacy is not counted in applause, but in consistency, courage, and conviction. Courage is not birthed in the moment of testing. Courage is proven in the private decisions that lead to it. The tragedy of the modern man is not his failure, but his unwillingness to confront it with clarity. A man loses moral ground not because the battle is too great, but because the confrontation is delayed, softened, or altogether avoided. The ancient models of warriors knew that moral fracture must be faced head-on. Shame must be named, guilt must be interrogated, excuses must be executed without ceremony. Whatever you cannot confront, you empower. Whatever you refuse to name, you permit to reign. Responsibility is heavier than confidence, yet lighter than regret. It demands the confession every man must eventually make. I sabotaged myself long before the world saw the consequences. Owning failure does not diminish strength, it legitimizes it. True courage is grounded in clarity of fault, precise responsibility, intentional repair, and persistent action. A man who does not hate his own weakness enough to dress it down will never restore the backbone he seeks. Rebuilding inner resilience is not an emotional arc. It is a moral decision that refuses theatrical self-forgiveness. Courage also requires the execution of inner accountability. Men who never interrogate their impulses mistake momentum for identity. Restraint is not surrender. Restraint is precision, choosing your battles and refusing others. The soldier does not conquer by impulse, but by intention. Your brothers cannot refine you if your self-assessment is dishonest or incomplete. Accountability absorbs truth without bargaining. Courage is simply doing what clarity of responsibility demands, at the time it demands it, every time it demands it. No speeches, no negotiations with self-failure. A man grows when he conquers inward before outward is demanded. And whatever you excuse, you train again. Brotherhood and accountability are the furnace of identity. Fire does not ask if iron is ready. Heat reveals what hammer must correct. Men today avoid the forge and then wonder why they bend under light pressure. Character that has never been pressure-treated will shatter when expected to hold weight. A man becomes what he rehearses in secrecy, not what he declares in public. Accountability between men was once organic. Older men spoke into younger men, peers corrected peers. Silence was not safety, silence was permission. The soldier you admire is simply the man who allowed himself to be formed by hard counsel before crisis drafted him into it. Brotherhood is the willingness to be examined without resentment, corrected without deflection, confronted without self-pity. Your friends are not your legion until they can challenge your blind spots without losing access to you. If correction can exile you, principles never ruled you. Accountability is relational strength training. Your brothers ask you the questions you secretly fear, not to shame you, but to strengthen you. The exchange is simple and severe. I'll hold your standard, you hold mine. Brotherhood that does not bear the weight of confrontation is companionship, not brotherhood. Brotherhood that does not survive friction is alignment by convenience, not virtue. Identity reform requires regular moral sparring. Your brothers become mirrors that speak. They don't allow self-collapse to feel deserved or poetic. They don't let your future wife become the emotional dumping ground for your undeveloped restraint. Brotherhood spreads the responsibility so a woman receives a built man, not a rebuilding project. Accountability is legacy insurance. It's protecting your future by letting men tutor your weaknesses now. Brothered identity is not emotional bonding. It is mutual oath-keeping translated into consistent action. The forge is harsh, but the unshaped man will one day wish he had chosen harsh early. A call has been sealed for men who refuse collapse and choose formation. If you want to reclaim inner backbone through 60 days of self-command, honor, and discipline, take the oath now. The path has already been opened beneath you. Link pinned in the first comment. Let silence, routine, and principle reforge your identity. Every man eventually bends toward a prototype of strength that does not negotiate with impulse, does not bow to cowardice, and does not crumble under moral weight. Long before many know his name, they already recognize the standard in silence. A man ruled by principle, inner command, sacrifice, courage, honor, and consistency. Jesus is not rhetoric. He is the backbone, the measure, the quiet conclusion of masculine philosophy when stripped to its final essence. He showed strength without brutality, conviction without performance, authority without tyranny, humility without weakness, brotherhood without betrayal. He confronted failure in others without contempt and carried responsibility. He did not owe without hesitation. The greatest display of strength was not when he overturned tables, but when he refused a crown that was not his mandate. The greatest war he won was unseen, silent, inward, against temptation, impatience, intimidation, pride, entitlement, resentment, fear, retreat. The soldier metaphor finds its full resolution in the man who went into the wilderness alone, faced temptation directly, and returned governed, not inflated. Christ's masculinity is not fragile, loud, dramatic, aesthetic, viral. His strength is deliberate, unshakable, truthful, quiet, disciplined, reliable. He presents moral fortitude as identity, not as public content strategy. The final key every man seeks is not to look strong, but to be impossible to shake on the inside. Jesus exemplified this by refusing every authority, appetite, impulse, or shortcut that tried to replace principle. He absorbed confrontation from his enemies without becoming one of them. He honored women without needing them to fix him. He elevated his brothers without flattering them. He built identity through moral stand, not convenience. Masculine philosophy reaches its summit in Christ because he is strength without compromise, honor without mask, sacrifice without applause. Every man searching for inner backbone eventually finds himself kneeling toward this standard, not tradition, not slogans, not religion, but the final prototype of what a formed man is. A man ruled by truth, applying it before the world asks for proof. Philosophy must descend into method or remain ornament. Strength begins by designing your week like a training cycle. Intention first, reaction last. Discipline is built with fixed borders, sleep scheduled, phone governed, appetites anticipated and contained before they become emergencies. Brotherhood must become accountability by system. You name your weakness to your brothers early. You don't discover it alongside them. Build shared oaths, then convert them into mutual checkpoints, not conversation topics. Restraint becomes practice when you introduce delay between impulse and response. Every appetite you expect to face, you prepare to refuse before emotional pressure arrives. Identity is rebuilt when a man practices self-command in unobserved moments. Early mornings governed by decision, silence protected by discipline, courage proven by routine applied without audience. Christ is the prototype you conform to by action long before narrative is required. A man does not rise by accident, he rises by oath. If you want the strength of a soldier, you must bury the habits of a slave. No one can do this for you, not your friends, not your childhood, not your past victories, not your pain. Strength is the quiet decision to stand where you once collapsed, to speak where you once hid, to act where you once negotiated with weakness. Every man must choose his commander, impulse or principle, comfort or honor, appetite or truth. One path builds a warrior, the other manufactures a captive. Christ stands not as religion, but as the unshakable model of what a fully governed man looks like. If you want to walk with iron in your spine, you must shape your days to meet that standard. Stand as a soldier, not as a slave. The war is already inside you. Win it before it reaches your life outside.